And boom, 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 boom. Last Legion, we back with another video. I hope y'all doing good, man. Today we got a very interesting video. As you can see right here, we have a June Lee, How Gambling Controls Sports in America. I plan this to be a very interesting video. Just to get into the topic at hand. Sports gambling, bro, definitely changes sports for one. Sports gambling always has been legal, obviously, but with these apps, it definitely changed the game, bro. Like for instance, like with me, for one, I cannot. I love sports. Watching sports on a game that you gambled and you love sports, it takes all the fun away from watching that shit. That's the first thing. For two, like I said, it takes all the fun away, but inside of the sports, the people involved in it, it takes away like the genuine, the what's the word called? Just the genuine. It's another word I'm thinking of. I'm cooked right now. I cannot think of it. But it's just taking that away from it, bro. It's a lot of people that still do have the love for the game, but it's just so many things and it's scandals. You see the NBA thing. I think, and another thing about the NBA, little gamble scandal, those are the only people that got caught. I'm for sure that shit is happening in all sports. People low key gambling and cheating to get props up, and they know the props, bro. So it's like, I think that is the NBA just got used for an example, but I know that's happening in all sports. Like I said, gambling shit, that shit was happening in baseball before these apps, but now these apps have made it just like your average gambler that wasn't gambling is gambling a lot. And it's like, man, they're throwing a lot of ads. They're forcing ads on us, man. It's like, it's a lot, bro. And it's taking a lot away from the game, like the passion and shit. But there's a lot of people that still love it. A lot of people that still watch it and love it. But it's so crazy now. It is a certain percentage of people that do not know anything or like don't have a care for basketball or football. They literally only watching it or just because of gambling. Like, it's got to that. Like, gambling, and that's probably why they're just pushing it so more, because viewership and ratings is ratings to them. It doesn't tell you, oh, like, this rating came from somebody just getting. Ratings are ratings. And I know they're seeing a spike in ratings with this gambling happening because, like I said, your average Joe that wasn't watching this shit is watching this shit because they got $20 on, you feel me, a parlay on this game. And it's like it's putting a lot of popularity in games that people didn't even care about, like the Charlotte, the New Orleans, the small, or like just an NFL, like the Tampa Bay, the smaller teams that weren't getting attention, motherfuckers watching them because shit, I betted $20 on it, so I'm about to watch them, you know? So it's like, it's bringing in more traction, but it's taking away the genuine in it at the same time, bro. It's like a take or give. One of them, like, at what risk? We're getting better ratings, but at what risk? It's taking the genuine and the passion out of this betting. And last thing is, me personally, because I do sport bet, I actually just lost a parlay. I actually just looked at my phone and saw I lost a parlay, ironically. But for one, I'm a Buckeye Steelers fan. I cannot bet on my team. Because one thing about you betting on your team, bro, you are going to bet on things that you want to happen in that game, not logically. Like, I'm betting on the Steelers, bro, during the season. This is around the time when Aaron first came. Steeler fan, obviously. When Aaron, like, first couple games, so I'm trying to see, like, what does it look like Aaron as our quarterback. And he was utilizing Darnell Washington a lot to the point where I'm like, but I want him to always get these touches every game. So I try to bet on the game, and I fucking wanted Darnell to get 3 to 4, 5 receptions. So I betted on it because I wanted that. Not logically speaking, that nigga had one reception. So I just stay away from betting on my teams because you're going to bet what you want to happen. But enough to yap. I hope y'all boys good. Like, comment, subscribe. Let's get into it, guys. Another video. Goo, 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 goo. Fuck you.
Guys.
He's crazy.
Updated Super Bowl odds. The Rams as the favorites.
Yeah, that's right. Presented by FanDuel.
DraftKings. BetMGM.
Boom, like I said. So many ads, bro. And I watch sport podcasts too. So it's like, between just everywhere, bro. It's so bad now, bro. Gambling places like, what's it, Gilbert Arenas? Their whole shit is sponsored by Underdog, a gambling app, a wager app. A lot of these podcasts are being fully sponsored. Sport podcasts are getting fully sponsored by betting apps, bro. That's how serious this shit getting. That's how much money they're circulating right now.
Sportsbook.
They're buying out podcasts.
For most of American sports history, gambling was something the leagues want to keep as far away as possible from the games. But today, it's everywhere. The odds aren't just
Literally,
in casinos
bro.
anymore. They're on the screen during the game,
Everywhere.
on your phone, in your group chats, and increasingly, they're part of how sports are talked about in the first place. This didn't just make sports more like a casino. It changed what sports are for.
Green apple looking at? Why you have?
Like I said, bro, you will never catch a random person that lives in Akron, Ohio. He is outside screaming his lungs out because fucking Toronto Raptors cleared the spread. That's what gambling is doing, bro. Like I said, it's like it's bringing excitement on places where it wasn't at. But at what cost, man? Then you got shit like this. People are running down on players. That's another thing why I'm gonna start going to these games. I made it my duty, especially in football. I want to start actually going to the games. I go to a Buckeye game. I never actually went to an NFL game, and I feel blasphemous because I know so much about the NFL. I've never been to an official game. That will be coming soon. And I know I won't be betting on any game that I go to. Because shit like this. I will damn near try to get on the field or court if you fuck my money over. And I personally don't like you and shit. Like, it's bringing things to where normal people are not liking players because of this. And I feel for them because it's like, bro, I'm doing my job, bro. Fuck you. But this is what comes with it.
You were supposed to go over, You work for Vegas.
Oh my God.
The spread of gambling didn't stop with sports.
Crashing,
now
bro.
you can bet on elections, on interest rates, on
I don't do none of that shit. Sport betting. That little Kalashi, that little something is off about that. Little Kalashi, whatever. You can bet on anything, like in everything. Cool on that, bro. Just keep it as sports for me. The most craziest shit I did, where I was now I knew like, okay, I need to step back. I put a wager up on like some 2K in Madden, and I was like, I had to look myself in the mirror and say like, nigga, what are you doing? Like I'm betting, sports betting, I'm betting on things that I can't control. But I'm laying in my bed at 2 a.m. betting on a random playing 2K. Like, that's when I like deleted the app for about like a month. I was in too deep, bro.
on politician deaths, on the future of entire countries. So how did we get here?
I'm gonna slow down
For
on
most
pause
of
and
the
I'm yapping
20th
like a
century,
motherfucker.
gambling was treated as one of the biggest threats to sports, and for good reason. When money is tied to every single part of a sports game, the question is no longer just about who won. The question is, can we trust what we're watching? For a century, gambling wasn't considered fan engagement. It was a cancer, the only thing that could actually kill the American miracle of professional sports. In 1919, 8 members of the Chicago White Sox took a payout to tank the World Series. They didn't just
Damn,
lose,
the World
they sold
Series?
the game. And when the Black Sox scandal broke, it broke the spell. It made the fans realize that the drama they were paying for
It's always those New York teams, man.
might just be a script written by bookies. As a result, in the 1920s, Major League Baseball created a brand new position with sweeping authority over the game, the commissioner. And the man chosen for the job was federal judge Kennesaw Mountain Landis. Landis understood something fundamental about professional sports. It wasn't just about whether or not the game was actually fixed, it was about whether or not the fans believed the game was fixed. Because once fans stop trusting the outcomes of games, the entire system collapses. Landis swung the axe. He banned all 8 White Sox players for life, even the ones a jury had acquitted. Nationally, it was viewed as one of the most despicable things in all of America.
Definitely.
The message was simple. Being near a gambler was a death sentence for your career. Gambling was an existential
I told you that shit
threat
happened a
to
lot
the
in
game
baseball,
itself.
bro.
But the money was always there,
Before these
lurking in the
apps.
shadows. By the 1950s, the fix had moved to college hoops. This was the era of the point shave. Mobsters didn't need players to lose the game. They just need them to adjust the score, to keep it close, to win by 4 instead of 10. It was a subtle, greasy way to steal from the public, and it turned the locker room into a satellite
Robbery.
office for organized crime. The pattern continued decades later. In 1978 and 1979, Boston College basketball players were recruited into another point-shaving scheme. The operation was run by mob associate Henry Hill, later immortalized in the movie Goodfellas. And then came Pete Rose, Charlie Hustle, the man with more hits than anyone in history. When it came out that he'd been betting on his own team, the leagues didn't care about his legacy. They knew the punishment sent another unmistakable message. Even the greatest players in baseball history weren't bigger than the integrity of the sport. By 1992, this gambling is poison mindset became federal law. Congress passed the Professional and Amateur Sports Protection Act, essentially making sports betting illegal in almost every corner of the country. And the leagues, they were the loudest ones cheering for it. Their logic was ironclad. If the fans think the game is rigged, the stadium will be empty. And for most of the 20th century, gambling was treated like poison to sports. It was kept as far away as humanly possible. But then something changed. America didn't suddenly decide that it loved gambling yet. Instead, something else developed in our culture. Fantasy sports. In the 1990s and early 2000s, fantasy...
What a great thing, man. We still don't have a soundboard, so I'm going to give Emmanuel a round of applause. Fantasy football, man. I've never won a fantasy football league before. I don't do basketball. It's too confusing. I'm a casual basketball nigga. Fantasy football is a great thing. And fantasy football does the same thing that gambling does, but I feel like it's a less risk of taking it actually gains. You actually have more genuine love for it, for players that you won because they're on your fantasy team. Closest I ever went to, I made it to championship. I lost though, but it makes you, like I just said with gambling, it has you cheer for teams and players that you usually wouldn't, putting eyes on the league overall more. Of course, it's money, but it's not like gambling. Like sport leagues, they have their pot. Whoever wins, wins the money. But it's not like really like a stealing from the public, like they were saying with gambling though. Like, it does the same thing, but less rich.
Sports exploded online. Millions of fans started managing their own teams, tracking stats, analyzing matchups, building lineups. Fantasy sports did something subtle but profound. It trained fans to think about sports the way a general manager does. Players become assets, games become
That is a perfect way to explain it. You a GM.
Sports, most fans watch
fantasy,
games
you're a
with
GM
question.
now.
Did my team win? Fantasy changed that question. Now it was, did my player hit his stats? Did my running back score? Did my pitcher strike out enough batters? Your emotional investment shifted from the outcome of the game to the numbers inside the game. Fantasy sports totally rewired the brain of sports fans. A new belief started to emerge.
I would agree.
If you knew the stats, if you knew the matchup, if you had some inside information, you could beat the system. As someone who loves and plays fantasy sports every single year, it also taught us that our knowledge of sports could be monetized. And then in the 2010s, the idea evolved into something much closer to gambling: daily fantasy sports. Companies like DraftKings and FanDuel realized they didn't need a whole season to hook you. They could do it on a single Sunday. They weren't gambling platforms, not legally. They were games of skill. It was a legal loophole you could drive a truck through. And it didn't feel like pulling a lever at a slot machine. When you did well in fantasy sports, it felt like you were just being smarter than everyone else. At the same time, another piece of culture was evolving: sports video games. Games like FIFA and NBA 2K began integrating loot boxes, randomized reward systems where players spent real money for a chance at better players. Some versions even looked like slot machines.
That's a whole video in itself, man. Microtransaction, in a way, ruined, but definitely changed video gaming. That's just a separate video to do, because man, microtransaction changed gaming. Oh shit, I mean it. I'm selling.
Were slowly becoming intertwined. By 2010, the culture was practically begging for sports gambling. So when the legal barrier to sports gambling finally disappeared, the culture was ready. The Supreme Court finally caught up with the reality on the ground. In Murphy versus NCAA, they tossed out the federal ban on sports gambling. The wall that Landis and Congress had built was demolished. Within just a few years, sports books spread across much of the United States. Billions of dollars started flowing through the industry. Betting apps appeared on millions of phones, and the leagues that once treated gambling like poison started partnering with sports books themselves. But the real shift wasn't just that sports gambling was suddenly legal. It was that it was absolutely everywhere and impossible to escape.
Everywhere, and man, I'll never forget when it became legal in Ohio here. That, as a gambler, it was a great time. You know how many apps? Do you know how many free bets that I got in that wave? Life was good. You spent $5, and almost every app you got $200 back in bonus bets. I turned that shit into a lot of money. You know what I did with that money? I saved some and put it back on the app and fucking lost everything. So, that's how that did.
Once gambling moved from the back
Ohio.
rooms to the internet to the glass boxes that we all hold in our pocket,
That shit was
the
crazy. It was
DNA of
everywhere,
how
bro.
we actually watch sports,
I'm hitting people up like, hey, you bet. If you don't, shit, I'll send you $5. Da-da-da. We can help with the bonus, man. That shit was for real. Everybody I knew, if you didn't bet, I was getting you on that app with my referral code.
started to completely mutate. For 100 years, if you wanted to put money on a sports game, you had to put in the work to actually do it. You had to find a guy or get on a plane to Vegas or walk into a smoky room with a stack of 20s. There was friction. You had to look another human being in the eye. But once gambling moved to smartphones, that friction disappeared. Now it was just one tap away. If the design feels familiar, it's because it is. It's taken from the casinos and social media and mashed together into an app on our phone. You don't even need to get your bets in before the game starts because you can bet on it at any point it's playing. Live betting lets you gamble on every moment of the action. Instant deposits mean money can appear in your account in seconds. And features like same-game parlays encourage you to stack multiple bets together. The bright graphics, the constant
I feel like live betting is where they get you at, because now your boost of dopamine of winning has amplified because now you're doing shit like in the time. I think they're gonna score this drive, or I think this drive is gonna end in this result and all that. That's why I never got into it. It's like it's a quicker win, but it's a quicker way of losing. I'd rather stretch my loss out, make me feel better about the loss. Shit is so quick and you just lose. I tried in-game betting. I tried live game gambling. I lost about like 3-4 times. I was cool on that shit. Took my odds. I'd take my odds at the beginning of the game.
There's the endless opportunities to engage. But to me, the most surprising part about sports betting apps isn't the technology. It's the business model that it's actually built on. Because sportsbooks aren't really looking for people who can beat the system. They're looking for people who can't escape it. This is journalist Danny Fund, who wrote the book Everybody Loses on the Rise of Sports Gambling.
The idea is, let's profile people, how much you're depositing, when you're depositing, promotions you're playing. All of that stuff goes toward your profile, so we know what they're good at and stop taking those bets. But, you know, if you're a square on other sports or other styles of betting, the sky's the limit to what you can bet on.
One of the biggest misconceptions that I learned about sports gambling through the reporting of this video is that professional gamblers don't treat gambling like chance, like luck. They treat it like a quantitative math problem to solve. Sports betting apps sell this really powerful idea. If you know more about sports, you can beat the system. You can make more money than other people in your life.
Losing your hair?
Because it's like, I know sports so well, but it's somebody that has a better winning average in gambling because they just understand, like,
guys, it's
that's the
so
part where it
easy.
makes it feel like some of this
day
shit
and
is
this is my real hair.
Bosley, American.
As he grows Berman is a professional sports bettor who specializes in tennis. He approaches gambling less like a fan and more like a financial trader.
If you can systematically beat the sportsbook, they will kick you out. If you are able to keep betting, it means that they have deemed you to not be good at this. FanDuel and DraftKings employ very smart people and pay them very large amounts of money with the sole purpose of figuring out who is good on their platform and kicking them out.
In other words, these apps aren't
crazy. That's crazy. And it's like, I had a feeling that shit was happening. But if they feel like I said, they want the people, dumbass like me, that like knows the game, I feel like my knowledge, because you're going to go with what you think. It's certain things, like I said, you got them people that just know certain like aspects of winning besides knowing the game. And those are people that hate because they win a lot.
Marketplaces. They are designed to extract as much money as humanly possible. And once I learned that sportsbooks don't actually want professional gamblers, I learned something else that was absolutely fascinating. If you have an account that has a lot of sports gambling debt, you can actually sell it to a professional sports gambler so they can make money on the app themselves, because the sports apps think that the gambler associated with that account is someone who loses a lot, which gives professional gamblers a lot of room to make money before the apps realize what's actually happening. And the more you look into sports betting apps, the more it feels like the system is designed in very specific ways to produce very specific outcomes.
Man,
And the idea
swear to
that
God,
design
bro.
shapes behavior actually applies
Not
to a
logical,
lot of
but
things
just
beyond
certain
sports
shit be
gambling.
happening,
Most people
bro.
think shaving irritation is just normal, that razor burn, tugging, redness is just part of the deal. But like a lot of narratives we accept, it's actually a design issue. Most modern cartridge razors flex. The blades pivot, they move, they deflect mid-stroke, so the angle changes while it's touching your skin. Some hairs get cut clean, others get pulled, and instead of fixing that problem, the industry just added more blades and lubrication strips. This video sponsor, Henson Shaving, took an opposite.
You almost got me.
Gambling ads, and that happened first. It had to be normalized, and one of the biggest forces that helped do that was sports media itself.
Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app.
Presented by FanDuel.
Brought to you by our friends at ESPN Bet.
For decades, sports broadcasts avoided gambling almost entirely, but after legalization, the odds started appearing on screen. Pre-game shows began discussing point spreads, networks launched betting segments, entire shows were built around betting picks. But media companies didn't just talk about gambling, they started partnering with it. Networks launched sports books, broadcasters read gambling ads, superstars like LeBron James and commentators like Stephen A. Smith appeared in sportsbook commercials.
The idea that betting used to be something you did discreetly, like if you did it, you probably didn't want to draw attention to it among friends
Everybody
and
and
family.
their mama
And
do it
now
now.
your favorite columnist or podcast host or TV announcer
Everybody.
is pushing gambling.
And while
Everywhere,
there was
bro.
a massive change around the advertising of sports gambling, there was another major change as well that I noticed as a member of the sports media. The media changed how it actually talked about sports. It changed
crazy.
the language it used to talk about sports. Sports media began framing gambling as analysis. The spread became the line, betting odds became the market.
Everybody
A bet
talks
wasn't
about,
gambling.
swear to God,
It was about
bro.
finding value. Betting started to sound less like
Real shit, like on ESPN, bro, or podcasts, they talk about the game, but usually they always be like, all right, guys, the spread on that will be plus da-da-da. Like, that shit was never added in. They definitely, just everywhere pushes it. It has to be part of the, like, these contracts with these sports media people, like, push gambling. Probably getting paid for it as well.
risk and a lot more like intelligence. If you knew sports, if you understood the numbers, if you studied the matchups, you could beat other people.
I think the biggest misconception is that they know ball. The misconception people have is that their sports knowledge is going to translate into betting success, right? They think they know ball and they don't, because your ball knowledge only matters if the market hasn't factored in that information, right? Like, you really think that your knowledge on, you know, the plays that Patrick Mahomes is going to run is better than the sports books and better than the thousands of professional bettors who are doing this as their full-time job? Almost certainly not.
And of course, there was another reason why
I need
sports
to hear
gambling
that.
took over sports media. Money. The traditional sports media business was collapsing. Magazine revenue was disappearing, cable television was losing millions of subscribers,
Ratings were
newsrooms
going
were
down.
shrinking, and media companies were desperate, looking for new sources of income. Sportsbooks offered something very valuable for companies. A lot of advertising money. I can tell you from
So
personal
much.
experience running this YouTube channel that sportsbooks pay far more money than other advertisers.
I've heard
up
that
to
a lot,
5
bro.
or 6 times more than other advertisers. But there's a catch that benefits sports media a lot more than I initially anticipated.
All of these news outlets getting such generous commissions when you clicked on a
Crazy
link
deals,
and signed
bro.
up for a sports book. At the high point, you know, making $500 or $600 for each person who went up and clicked a link and then signed up for a book. And then for the lifetime of that customer's use on the sports book, the outlet that referred them would get between 30 and 45% of their net losses. It's such a conflict of interest because you think
Wait, did I just hear that right? So that specific person, they're getting paid off they click through our link. That makes sense. Obviously, that's how promotion works. When you use their code, you get or whatever, you know, the money or whatever with these endorsements. I'm learning with content. But are they saying that when they lose, they're getting a percentage of that money as well? Hold on.
outlet that referred them would lifetime who went up and clicked a link and then signed up for a book. And then for the lifetime of that customer's use on the sports book, the outlet that referred them would get between 30 and 45% of their net losses.
What? That's some news. So they're putting these niggas contracts. Nah, if the person that you refer, they getting a percentage of their net loss money is crazy. That's where it all is. They pushing that gambling so much because we get paid off of you losing. Not the betting app, but like these podcasts and media people and all that. I obviously knew the app was getting the money, but damn, that's why these people are taking these deals. That's a lovely deal.
It's such a conflict of interest.
It's fucked up,
because
but that's a
the guy saying here's
deal,
what to bet
bro.
on
Very
is
lucrative.
looking out for you, like you're allies against the sports book.
Well,
in reality, they're making all their money off your losses.
And the more people bet, the more consequences start to show up. Not just in bank accounts, but in the lives of athletes themselves. Because once fans could bet on every moment of a game,
Gabby got a white guy. I want Melissa to win.
players themselves became part of the wager. The growth of sports betting is often talked about in how much money people make. But what doesn't show up in revenue charts and in stock reports is the effect that it actually has on the lives of people, both the athletes and the sports fans. For people struggling with gambling addiction, their relationship with gambling can slowly take over their entire life. That's Rob Minnick, who had thousands of dollars in sports gambling debt, is a recovering addict, and now runs a YouTube channel sharing his experience.
The irony of that, recovering addict. Because it's the same dopamine hit as a drug. It's the same, not the same exact, but it's similar because you're getting dopamine hits off of getting high. You get dopamine hits off of wanting to win. It's like a high that you get when that feeling of, oh, I could turn this $5 into $500. That's why you get addictions like this. And people that are people that have fought habits in the past are becoming gamblers because it's another habit.
When I saw sports betting, I saw it as a shortcut.
To be honest,
I saw it
overall,
as
it's
something
bad.
that I
It's more
could
bad
choose
than
to do.
good.
That if I was just good enough at this thing, if I could just figure out how to beat this game that I know I'm not supposed to beat, but if I can figure it out, I don't have to work a normal job. I can be the man. I can travel the world, be my own boss. I can do whatever I want. It wasn't like I was outwardly like trying to lose friends or lose people in my life, but you know, as people would stop being friends with you or with me rather, and I didn't care all that much. It just felt like, all right, well, bye. And as long as I had my coping mechanism, my gambling, it didn't really matter what was happening.
And when a bet loses, the instinct is often the same. Try to win it back as quickly as possible. This is Stephen Delaney, a truck driver who lives in Long Island, who's a sports gambling addict.
Now you would have win a buddy back. Now you lose it more,
His addiction reached the point where he was taking loans out on his retirement fund.
See, I'm telling you, I was not just yapping. Nigga taking loans out of his retirement fund, money that he was supposed to be done working and live off of. Once they gamble it, shit is scary.
I just had such low self-worth, and I felt like the only way I could feel like I was enough and I had value to my family and to my children was to provide a larger income. And I felt like I could do that through gambling. And it was just this rush of a feeling of like, yeah, I knew I could do this. And it gave me, in that moment, some self-worth where I said, I know about sports, I'm good at betting, I'm good at gambling.
And for many gamblers, the cycle starts the same, with an early win, a big payout, a moment that makes it feel like you've cracked the code. Daily fantasy.
That's the part of it. They want you to win early. That's why they give you all them bets, because they want you a chance for you to win some. Them free bets I was talking about. They want you to win. Because if you start losing off rip, oh, he's not going to be interested. Now, let's get them to win that first little bets and all that. So now, instead of the bets, they're going to spend their hard work and money that they have.
He made the illusion even stronger because it didn't feel like a slot machine. It felt like strategy, research, roster building, something you could master. And slowly, for people like Steven, the bets just get bigger, the losses get harder to accept, and the cycle becomes self-reinforcing. You tell yourself you're not addicted, you're informed, and you know the sport, and you just need one more bet to get back to even. And the consequences of sports betting have been bigger on athletes than I anticipated it being. Lucas.
Wait, listen up. If staff abused you while you were locked up in juvie, you are not just stuck with the trauma. You could be looking at 300 grand or...
Giolito is an MLB veteran pitcher who has played for the Boston Red Sox, Chicago White Sox, and the Los Angeles Angels.
I've gotten the Venmo requests where it's like, you owe me this amount of money because I bet this on you and you didn't finish my bet. And then I've actually received, I've received like money to my Venmo account like small amounts where it's like, hey, thanks, man. You have your typical,
How are they getting his
you
Venmo
suck, you're
account,
washed, like get off the team. Like, great, that's fine. And then
how are they getting his Venmo account though? You can just look up names. I'm not familiar with that. So how the hell did they, nigga? I get like DMing, anybody can DM me, but how the fuck did they? How are they on your Venmo sending you requests though?
then it will climb to like more personal attacks, talking shit about like
Hang it up. Boom, that word. Sorry, that was mean, bro. I was just heated in the moment. You got it next time. Oh my god.
personal things, whether it be me.
I'm guilty of writing somebody over a bet. I'm just saying here now. I don't know exactly who, but I know for a fact, not only DMing, I'm posting them on stories and tagging them. So, yeah. Can't really say too much about it because I definitely am. That's what I say. I definitely, like, I don't know if I need to go to the game. I don't need to go to a game where I'm betting on. I just need to go to the game to enjoy it. Because I'm one of these niggas that get mad at them after.
My relationships, and then.
Oh my gosh. You lost me $800. You was playing a fucking bum. I put your under strikeouts. I don't even know how you managed to get 6 playing like a bum against the club. Run me my ones. 1v1. Let's throw hands. And I hope you fucking read this. Bum. Bum. You effing bum. Oh my god. Just wait until I see you. You son of a bitch. Oh my god. Okay, I ain't go this far.
And it gets into more
He's
like
crashing.
just
Full
nasty,
throttle,
like go kill yourself,
right
or I got one after my last bad outing where it was.
You trash. Don't play baseball. You seem like you have a physical disabilities. I should have sex with your girlfriend tonight. I'll eat deliciously tonight. Go home and eat your mom's chest. Oh my god. I'll congratulate you on your accident at home. Fuck.
Like, I hope you and your family die. That was a good one.
I ain't go
And
this
then
far, bro.
on very rare occasions you'll receive direct threats, which those are the ones where it's like you want to take it a little bit more seriously. You'll report those up the chain.
Before the rise of sports betting apps, most fans simply rooted for their teams to win. Fans can bet on almost every moment inside a game. Strikeouts, rebounds, touches, missed shots, individual plays. These are all called prop bets, and they change something fundamental about how fans experience the game. Because when a bet loses, it's no longer just the team that lost, it's a specific player, which means athletes increasingly receive.
That is true. Damn, I never thought about that. Say for instance, like Bron, even though that's the thy glorious king of everything in the world. You see the jersey back there, the glorious king. That's why I put a crown over it, because he is thy king.
Dick Rider from Long Range. I caught you in 4K. Oh my god, 2 different styles. Oh my god, glazing from Long Range.
That's like LeBron though. When he don't hit like a prop or something, you definitely don't be like, damn, the Lakers sold me. It's LeBron, because it's a prop. You individually have a problem with the player. You feel me? Definitely do
messages
that.
from bettors
I never look at it
about
from a
losing
team
money.
standpoint.
And with that kind of culture, scandal is all but inevitable. In 2024, NBA player Jonte Porter was banned for life after an investigation found he had shared inside information with gamblers and manipulated his playing time to affect betting outcomes. Investigations have also touched players like Terry Rozier and coaches like Chauncey Billups and others across professional
like I
and college
said,
sports.
this shit is
Major
not
League
just
Baseball
happening in
investigates
NBA,
suspicious
bro.
betting
There's
patterns
no way.
tied to players like Emmanuel Clase and Luis Ortiz. College sports, where athletes often earn little money and face enormous pressure, have long been vulnerable to gambling influence. And while sports gambling scandals aren't anything new, what has changed is the sports media environment that is supposed to keep these leagues accountable. When Pete Rose was banned from baseball, or when NBA referee Tim Donaghy was caught betting on games, sports journalism still had large investigative units. Newsrooms devoted resources to digging into uncomfortable stories, and today, a lot of those resources are gone. Investigative shows like Outside the Lines and Real Sports have been scaled back. Publications like ESPN The Magazine have disappeared.
Damn, I remember the old ESPN magazines, man. Quick side story, has nothing to do with it, but kinda. I got in a fight over ESPN magazine, bro. Probably like in the 4th grade, bro. Our library at school, they used to have like the magazine little section, but it was only certain magazines, and they used to get a subscription of certain ones, but it was a Sports Illustrated, ESPN. Thing about ESPN, everybody know that ESPN used to come with posters. ESPN had a poster that I knew that LeBron was the poster in it. And as you could hear from earlier, I'm a LeBron Glazer. Let's just say that, long story short, there was a kid crying and didn't have an ESPN poster with LeBron on it. And that kid wasn't me.
And the economics of sports media have shifted towards something else: transactional coverage, breaking news, scoops. When the Terry Rozier scandal broke, ESPN had to remove a graphic advertising its sports betting platform so that it didn't look like they were advertising sports
Literally, like, that's funny as hell.
Gambling as the news of a sports gambling scandal was breaking. And all of this creates this really uncomfortable reality that almost every single major sports media outlet is financially tied to the success and the legalization of sports gambling.
The fact that so many people in sports media are walking on eggshells when they talk about gambling and don't want to say the wrong thing that's going to embarrass an advertiser that's keeping their company afloat, or embarrass the leagues for doing business with those advertisers, or make them look like hypocrites for pushing gambling. And then
that's the funny part. Ironically, that is funny. When they were talking about that Rozier with the gambling shit, a lot of sports shows and shit, they had to speak on it because it's a sports show. But the way they were speaking on it was very subtle, short, and like you could tell, bro, they like, we gotta speak on it, but we do not want to say the wrong thing to make these sponsors not give us this money no more. I could definitely see that shit when that shit first happened with the NBA scandal earlier this season.
Covering, the dangers involved with gambling, and hearing a former ESPN reporter say that, in effect, sports media is being bribed by all that advertising.
I've been in sports media for almost 15 years now, and I have a lot of friends in this industry that feel really uncomfortable with the tension at the center of it right now. They often have to promote sports gambling on their podcasts or their shows, but they don't like the effect that it's having on the industry. And at the same time, they feel like they can't push back because the people paying and signing their checks are getting money from these sports books. Literally. And so when stories...
And they feel like they'll lose their job because the people at ESPN, the big people at ESPN is getting paid by DraftKings and all that. DraftKings gonna hit them up like, hey, you just see your one boy, he spoke on this, da-da-da-da. They're gonna fire that person quickly to keep them sponsors happy. And you could see, I'm telling you, bro, you could see that shit with them, bro, when they were speaking on that shit, bro. They don't want to talk about the bad in gambling. They may not even gamble themselves, but they got to talk about it because they're sponsored by them niggas, man.
Around gambling and scandals around gambling emerge, they feel like they can't be as aggressive about it as they would have been maybe 5 or 10 years ago. Because so much of the industry that is supposed to report on sports gambling and its scandals is now funded by it. It's a huge reason why I don't take sports gambling sponsorships on this channel. It's the reason why this video can even exist in the first place. So if you want to support sports journalism without sports gambling...
This video wouldn't exist if he was, if he had a sponsor by a sports gamble app. And if he was, this will be the last video they would ever sponsor by him. They would never do business with him. That's crazy. Videos like this exist because he didn't take no deals from a gambling app. And from what I hear, as soon as you get enough subscribers and all that, they come knocking at your door with crazy numbers to push sports gambling, bro.
Sponsorships, make sure to subscribe and leave a comment and share it with a friend. And all of this raises a lot of difficult questions because if the incentive to gambling keeps growing, the pressure on the integrity of these leagues keeps growing too.
That's the word I was looking for earlier.
The expansion of gambling hasn't stopped with sports because now there's entirely new gambling markets emerging that allow people to not just bet on games, but on the future itself. Companies like Polymarket and Kalshi call themselves something different: prediction markets. They present percentages, which is easier to understand than sports odds. A market might ask a question like, will this candidate win an election? Will interest rates rise? Will a certain event happen before the end of the year? And the advertising slogan from these prediction markets is simple. They say that it's not gambling, that this is just a new source of information.
It's a market where people are trading against each other. There's no house. And the reason why people are flocking to prediction markets, especially Kalshi, is that, you know, our incentive as a company, we win when the customers win. We don't win when the customers lose, and that's a huge difference in the model.
But when you look a little bit closer, the reality is much more complicated. Prediction markets often present themselves as crowds of ordinary users trading on ideas.
These ads are
but many of the
everywhere,
biggest
bro.
players in these markets aren't casual users. They're professional traders.
So what there are is there's things called market makers, which are often, you know, either very rich people, very successful bettors, or sort of large institutions, often like your Susquehannas of the world, who basically say, okay, here's what we think the odds are, and we are going to offer bets on both sides. And they actually just function just like a sports book. Sometimes you are going to be betting against your peers or against normal people. In reality, a lot of the time, you're betting against large hedge funds, and there's actually, the pricing is never going to be the same. The odds on a sports book are basically always going to be identical to the odds on a prediction market, because if there was a significant divergence, then people would just arbitrage it and bet both sides to lock in a profit. I would much rather go up against a DraftKings trader making 60 grand a year than Susquehanna on Kalshi, right? They're much better at their job.
Way better.
And their job is to set.
You're not winning. The win probability very lower on that. I can see it. It's just weird, bro. That politics. I don't really know politics either, so I would never touch that.
Accurate prices and make sure that they're on the opposite side of your trade. And this is a zero-sum game.
Prediction markets go way further than betting apps because these markets can be about literally anything. And a lot of this raises a lot of really troubling questions, because if people can profit from events, the line between gambling and power starts to blur together. And prediction markets are moving quickly, partnering with celebrities, building political connections, seeking mainstream legitimacy. Even athletes have begun entering the space. One of the most surprising examples came from Giannis Antetokounmpo. The two-time MVP and face of the Milwaukee Bucks revealed he holds an equity stake in Kalshi. At first glance, it looks like another celebrity endorsement, but the timing raised a lot of suspicion. For months, the NBA rumor mill had been dominated by Giannis' own future. Would he stay in Milwaukee, request a trade? Prediction markets turned that speculation into something people could bet on. And as the
I'll be damned. All the evidence is right there, bro. You're telling me he just put a stake or whatever stake or paid for a percentage of Kalshi, and now all of a sudden a very big prediction on there is like whose team he's gonna go to. He's benefiting from literally a prop that's on there, that he has control of the decision. What the hell? It's right in our face.
Speculation swirled, the prediction market for Giannis' next team on Kalshi skyrocketed. And so when the announcement came that Giannis owns part of a prediction market, the backlash was enormous. Let's take a moment to think about how insane this is. Giannis knows if he's gonna ask for a trade, he's one of the only people on earth who truly knows what's gonna happen.
He controls
At the same time, he's the part owner of a place where your money is being traded based on that very decision. The more chaos there is around Giannis' future, the more valuable his equity in Kalshi becomes. Thousands of trades, thousands of fees. And Giannis profits anytime anyone bets on his future, right or wrong. He's financially incentivized to keep the world guessing, to keep the rumors flying.
Made a decision
and
yet.
the NBA hasn't done anything about it. When asked about this at NBA All-Star Weekend, Adam Silver responded by saying,
"It was so many players that James Harden to Cavs and what's his name, Garland to the Clippers and all the shit moving around. He's still, till this day that I am recording his reaction, Giannis still is not on a different team or made that decision yet. He's still, and that means it's still open to make new prediction, and each prediction he's getting paid for it. Oh, man.
In the case of Giannis, from what I understand, it's a minuscule investment, much smaller than one.
As always, and then you got the niggas trying to cover it up.
Kalshi is worth $11 billion. Giannis is allowed to own up to 1% under NBA rules. 1% of Kalshi is worth $110 million. Wow. Half of 1% of Kalshi is worth $55 million. Giannis is no longer just participating in the game and in the drama of the NBA.
Man.
He's making money every single time there's more chaos and speculation around his future. And what started with betting on games is now becoming way bigger. It's becoming a world where everything is a wager. The logic of sports betting is already spreading. During the Golden Globes broadcast, odds from the prediction market Polymarket were shown on the screen for who might win each award. And in politics, at one point, traders were betting on the exact length of a White House press briefing. When Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt ended the briefing just seconds before a key betting line, the market flipped instantly, prompting accusations online that someone with inside knowledge inside the White House had traded on the outcome and made money on it. Sportsbooks proved that fans could see sports as an opportunity to constantly make money. Prediction markets are trying to make the world feel as if every single moment, every single thing that happens is an opportunity to make money. Because every single moment in a sports game now has money attached to it, fans are starting to ask different questions about sports. It's not just, did my team win? It's, was that referee call real? Was that injury suspicious?
Bro.
Did that player leave the game early?
That's what I'm saying. It's taking the integrity and the genuine. I'm gonna keep using the word. We're spamming, spam genuine in the comments. It's taking that shit away because now we just don't know what's fucking real or not, bro. This shit is, everything's a game. Everything's a video game.
Because of the score, or was it because of a betting market? Sports have always depended on something fragile.
That's not in the NBA.
Trust that what you see on the field is real. Trust that the players are competing on the field honestly. Trust that referees are calling what they see honestly. It's not always perfect, but before sports gambling, there were fewer opportunities to question this trust. And once that trust starts to erode, the meaning of these games starts to completely change. Recent polls show that fans are worried about the integrity of games and whether or not what they're seeing is real. And for a generation that has grown up with sports betting apps on the phone, sports is no longer something separate from sports betting. They're intertwined together. And the reason I think that sports gambling is a bigger problem than just in sports is because the issue isn't just about whether or not betting should exist or should be legal. It's about what happens when we make every single moment of our lives an opportunity to make money. Gambling has always been a part of sports, but something changed when betting stopped living on the margins and moved to the center of the experience. And once you start thinking this way, it doesn't just stop at sports. When you start putting a price tag on everything, the way you see the world gets twisted. We stop asking, is this actually true? And start asking, what are the odds? And when the world starts to feel like one big math problem, we stop seeing people as neighbors or friends. We just see them as a way to win a bet. Because gambling didn't just change sports, it rewired our brains. The danger isn't that corruption suddenly appears. Sports, politics, business, money have always shaped decisions. What changes when gambling becomes part of everything is two things. It creates more opportunities for people with inside information to profit, and it makes everyone else more likely to assume that's exactly what's happening. Gambling has always been around sports, but what's changed is how deeply it's embedded in how we watch them. When betting becomes the dominant frame for interpreting a game, that mindset doesn't stay confined to sports. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments.
Wow,
make sure to subscribe.
W video, man. W June Lee. Yeah, man. I don't know, man. Are we watching sports fall off? Not fall off, but like turn into like, we don't know, like how YouTube, it's like sports is going through that YouTube era. Like when growing up, like YouTube was just so fun to watch. I always, and like I said, I always wanted to be a content creator because I always watched them. But like just watching videos on YouTube, like it was something genuine growing up, early YouTube. And then it went to that era where it was like so much fake shit. You didn't know what was what. You know, it made it a weird time. And I think the sports is going through that now. It's like we had a genuine thing, but now it's like we just having to divvy our way to like divvy our way through, you feel me, what's real and what's we think is fake or scripted in sports. It's definitely taking the integrity down, bro. It's taking it out of it. But I do still believe, and I don't know, just because me loving football and just like sports, like competitions and shit, like is me hoping and being optimistic, but I do believe that it's still people that it's still some integrity in that shit. But let me know what y'all think, bro. What's y'all's take on this, or just a thought on this topic, man. Other than that, y'all boys be easy, man. Another W reacts. Peace. Whoa. Hold on real quick. I just want to let y'all know I do have more than this main channel, man. Make sure y'all look at my gaming channel. And we got a sport channel
for all sports, specifically football content. I'm
going dollar for dollar. I'm going dollar for dollar. I'm going dollar for dollar. She screaming, she holler, she liking the way that I walk. I don't need a designer to get right behind her. She loving the way that I talk. All this hustling, grinding, this business I'm on, and I do all this shit on my own. Now I'm writing on my wrongs. Picking up pieces I'm on.
If y'all not watching my daddy, what are y'all doing?